Welcome to Reno Home Tour by Deconstruct, where we share with you real renovation tips and prices so that you neither think renovation should be super cheap, nor will you get scammed by those super greedy IDs or contractors. So today we are at Commonwealth. It's a 4-room resale unit that has been completely changed by a mid-tier designer called Ray. So before that, the house looks something like this. And then with the help of the homeowner together with Ray, they redesigned the house into like a very modern contempt kind of house. So I'm quite excited. So let's go and take a look. So when you first enter the door, the owner actually created this compartment here for storage purpose. But it's not only for storage. So many IDs would suggest that you do this for privacy reason. So the door is here and the window is here and the owner actually can sit over there. So by creating this compartment here, you so-called privatize that area and create storage for your house. So kind of like a 一举两得 kind of thing. But the difference here is because the owner actually has an elderly mom who comes to the house frequently. So instead of a normal full compartment here, the ID actually created a very convenient settee here. So that when the elderly mom comes in, she can take a seat, take off her shoes, wear her shoes, whatever not, and then move in. Then if you come in further, the corners here you see are rounded, but the owner was also quite practical because a lot of homeowners now want it to be round or curved for the sake of being curved, but she only wanted it for practical reasons. So because this is so-called jutting out, they wanted it curved so that you won't knock into it. Right? So you can see the other carpentry around the house, right, actually is pretty much flush because they want to make it too mainstream. Then you come in. So this is actually the entire living area. So one thing that the homeowner was really appreciative of for the designer is to be able to reconfigure this space. So this space is about 88 square meter, which is slightly smaller 4-room resale. Normally it's about 90 or 95 plus minus. And this is actually the entire living room originally. And then this area was actually the 3rd room. So you can see the living area is pretty much small. If you put a dining table here, there's nothing much you can do already. So what the idea actually did was to actually remove the 3rd room so that it can create an additional living space. So you have the hall here and then you have the living space here for them to watch TV and whatever. I thought it was quite a good way to remodel the house to make it look spacious, right? And then come to the curtains. Okay, so what I thought made the house look very modern, chillax, right? It's not only because of the separation, so that there's airflow between the left and right from the door to the window, but also the curtains. So you see this curtain got these folds, what they call folds lah. So cheaper curtains, I would say, normally won't have these folds. So the whole place ends up looking a little bit more simple lah, for lack of a better word. But then with these folds, it really adds to the chillax vibe where like on Friday night, you come back, you want to chill, or if you work from home. So I think these folds really make a lot of difference to the entire ambiance of the space. Okay, right. So this is the kitchen. So remember I mentioned the rounded areas are really so that you 不会撞到啦. So the owner is quite a heavy baker. So she actually has all these built-in ovens, cabinets and whatnot. So one thing she shared quite interestingly was she asked the designer to create this space here for her oven so that she thought that when she has all the hot baked goods, she can open this compartment and then put here and then transfer it to somewhere. But then, as per all homeowners I would say, sometimes we think a little bit too much. So at the end of the day, the homeowner didn't really use this because once you take it out, right, actually you just put here or you put there or whatever not. But this is just an interesting insight to how sometimes you might think a little bit too much on the carpentry, but actually simple will do. Okay, what was interesting was that the homeowner actually has 2 sinks. So you have one sink here, and then if you can follow me in, you have another sink here. So the rationale for having 2 sinks, which is quite different from many homeowners, is because it's so-called, in toilets you have the wet area and the dry area, the dirty area and the clean area. So this is actually quite a similar concept. So here, she designated this space, 1 for her robot, 2 so that she can wash her laundry sometimes, and 3, if she has a dog in the future, she can actually like bathe the dog here or do all the so-called dirtier stuff. And then this other sink here, the main sink, will be used for, of course, her washing of her plates bowls and she hosts people quite fairly. So if you can see, she said that she was not very neat, but actually I think she's very, very neat. So you can clearly tell, right? all the storage spaces have been used up. So it's not doing storage for the sake of storage. It's really doing storage so that they can store things. So one thing I wanted to share with you guys a lot, because we heard some feedback from homeowners. Actually, we heard 2 of these feedback from homeowners about carpentry in the last week. Because you see, the bottom cabinet is normally 600 in depth, and then it's normally up to 850 or 900 in height. And then this middle part is about 600. In short, from the bottom cabinet up to the backsplash is about 1.5 meters. So normal human height will be about maybe 1.6, 1.7, whatever not. So a lot of time, the dimension of the foot might make it such that you end up 撞头 down here. Because the top cabinet is normally shallow at about 350 to 400 in depth. And the bottom cabinet is actually deeper, about 600. So because of this dimension at the hood, at the top, it can be 450, 500, 550, 600. So you have a scenario where somebody of this height, right, will end up banging their head down here. And so some homeowners get a little bit irritated. So all I want to say is that this is something that maybe you should take note of, and you can discuss it with your ID or your contractor. It's definitely customizable. But maybe before you build your kitchen cabinet, right, maybe go take a look at the dimensions of the hood you are looking for as well, especially if you are a heavy cooker, right? Because all this really matters in your day-to-day living. Okay? Okay, then we are back to this lovely living room. And then as I mentioned, this was originally the 3rd bedroom, but to create more space, they actually hacked down the wall so that they can put their TV here. It acts as a living lounge area for the homeowners. I especially love the lights. The lights, because they are so simple and yet you won't hit it, because there's the sofa here. It's very well planned out. So I really, really love it. And then the owner did false ceiling. So quickly, 2 things. I love false ceiling. Don't always remove it from your quotation. It really adds to the vibes. And then 2, if you have cove light at the side, the costing will be different compared to you having no cove light. So when you compare quotation that time, don't ignore the cove light portion because it's quite substantial. In short, it's like a ×2 cost. So make sure you look at it. So the owner actually changed this bifold door as well from the existing bifold door because it looked pretty cheap. So I like this toilet because it's very clean. It adds to the whole modern contempt vibe. Nothing too extra. The only difference I would say is up here at the top. So a lot of time BTOs, they will come with the mesh. IDs might tell homeowners that, hey, the mesh not very nice. You change it to acrylic panel. And then inside there, you will still have lights. But what the homeowner told the ID was, actually, I give you the space. You go design it however you want. And the ID didn't really want to do it so mainstream. So they sort of added like an additional cove light at the top so that it's not the generic kind of bathroom. It's something a little bit different. Okay. And then we come to the common room. So the common room is sometimes used by the mom. So you can see the things here are quite simple, quite standard. The main difference that I wanted to say was, you see this part here? This is actually a false wall that was built up. And then you see this is a real wall. So the ID made an intentional effort to actually reconfigure both this space and the master room so that it suits the needs, because the mom isn't here all the time. And the mom actually doesn't really need much space and storage. But at the other side of the room, you can see why there is a need to create this additional space. So behind this area, you can see it's actually a wardrobe in the master, but we will take a look at that later. But this was the main configuration that was done between the common room and the master room, which I think was quite different. It's really something that if you are keen to explore more space for your master bedroom, it's something you can consider. Okay, then we will come to the master room. So this is the master room. So the first reconfiguration was, like I mentioned, the wardrobe, which you'll see later. But this was another reconfiguration. The toilet door was originally here. And on top of that, with the toilet door being so near the entrance, the sink is also just behind here. So it got very squeezy. So they actually shifted the position of the door to be slightly more inside. So by shifting it inside, they don't first thing see the bathroom and it's not squeezy anymore. So you come and see, they didn't change the size of the bathroom, but immediately it became bigger because when you walk in time, you have a space to walk. Previously, here was the door. And then here was the sink, like the sink area. So it's very, very squeezy. But by shifting the door all the way to the right side, nearer where the shower area is, she actually created a path for the homeowner to walk. Just down here, wash do all their funny business. But the most important thing is how this created space, even though the size of the bathroom remains the same. So you can see this glass shower screen door. It's actually one of the newer models. It's very cool. Let me show you. Okay, so it's not the standard box up kind. You see the door? Cool, right? Cool, right? So actually the ID went to find a lot of vendors just to get this design because the homeowner said, hey, she saw it online. So let's see if we can find it. But it's one of the newer designs. So if you're interested, try it. Come. So this is the master room. So if you can turn around with me, you can see this wardrobe here. Now you know why I said it was built in. Previously, this was a wall. Right? There's no space here. So the depth of this cabinet is about 60 cm now. If she were to move this out, because of the bed dimension, it's normally about 1.9, 1.8, 1.9. If the room is not long enough, you have a situation, if the wardrobe is built here, there's no space to walk. What? Right? You normally, a very comfortable space of walking is about 90, but 60 will also do. But it's only because they managed to hack this wall, build the wardrobe in, that's why they could actually still maintain this space. So it's something that I cannot emphasize enough because I've seen one house where it was really quite funny. The homeowner was quoting the ID. Not our ID, by the way. That why will you not consider the depth of the wardrobe, the bed, and then end up I not having to be able to like open the door? Why? So this is something, please take note. Dimensions 很重要的. And then you come here. So these handles are also quite different from those that are normally done. The homeowner liked that it was very uniform across. So you don't see those normal handles that are jutting out. It's really one whole full piece so-called carpentry. And remember we mentioned about the laminates. So you can see the false ceiling. Because there's false ceiling, laminates above 2.4 meter, right, there will be a laminate joint line. But because there's a false ceiling that drops down, so the height from the ground to the top is probably less than 2.4 meters. Which is why this whole piece is actually one whole piece of laminate, which is very seamless. So I love it. I absolutely love it. And then if you open this door, this was actually what one of the homeowner wanted, and it was inspired by her work trip overseas. What the homeowner wanted to do was to make it very seamless without the gap. So then where do you hold the drawer, right? So the drawer is held here actually. So they open and close. Like I said, carpentry, a lot of it, you can customize it. So if there's something you see that you like, just ask whether is it doable or not. The ID, because this is quite uncommon, the ID originally said, huh? You really want to do that, man? But the homeowner said, yeah, she loves it. So she did it. That's all. Okay, lastly, I thought there was an advice that was given by the homeowner which was very apt. So before I end this video, I just wanted to share this with you guys as well. So the homeowner didn't know which furniture would actually match her vibes. So what she did was, these chairs were actually from IKEA. She bought one first to come home to test if, hey, if I have one here together with this dining desk, will it actually fit the vibes or not? And then she saw it, then she was like, hey, yeah, it fit. And then she went to get 6 of it, right? So actually sometimes you don't need to rush to get all your furnitures in one shot, especially if you really like a house that is of your own. What you can do is just get one, test it. I mean, your house is there, right, for the next 5 years or 3 years, depending on condo, HDB, and whatever not. So take your time, find the piece that you like, don't rush into it, and then if you see that, hey, it really fits, then just get the set of it. Time is on your side, so don't rush to get 6 of it. When end of day, you might not like it, and then you throw it away, right? So I thought it was a very brilliant advice. Okay, so now that you have seen the house, right, remember at the start of the video I mentioned it was about 80,000. To be fair, for a 4-room resale that is more or less overhauled, right, with a mid-tier designer like Ray, 80K is really very reasonable. At the end of the day, I always say the scope matters, the profile of the ID that will also matter in terms of what your final cost price will be for your renovation. I think one thing to also note was, I think the homeowner also gave Ray some space to express his creative thoughts. So together they work quite hand in hand to craft out this beautiful space. So sometimes between you and the IDs, the level of like who will take charge, right, of the design. Sometimes a lot of times it's like homeowners will force their way in, or sometimes some designer will come. But the best houses are for those who actually really listen to each other and then just play off each other. So it's not something that's easy to do, but it's something that I just wanted to mention on how this space was actually crafted. So we've come to the end of the home tour. If you are looking to shortlist reliable IDs or contractors, feel free to check us out at www.deconstruct.sg. If not, any other comments that you have, feedback, feel free to write down below. Okay, till the next episode.